So, our topic today is equanimity, which is quite interesting because I always thought, so when we do equanimity practices in the monastery, it's that we see friends, enemies, and neutral as the same people. So I was almost equating it to equality, which I know they are different words. So I was looking it up, and actually in the Cambridge Dictionary, equanimity is a calm mental state, especially after a shock or disappointment in a difficult situation. So that's the English translation, but like love has an English and a Tibetan translation. It's slightly different, pretty much the same, but it's to see with patience, or to stand, and like in the middle of all of this, basically. So all of this could be, I guess if you think about it, all of this could be bad feelings that we have about other people. So, yes, so that's what we're going to work on today, is the equanimity. But I just found that really interesting, that kind of what I was thinking about equanimity is not necessarily true. But I guess if you think about it, well, I'll get into that later, but let's just do a little bit of a warm-up. And I guess for, let's start with rolling the neck. So for today's practice, we're going to need a friend. And let's choose one person for each, okay? Wow, my neck is stiff this morning. So we need a good friend, somebody that you would think would never ever hurt you. And a neutral person. When they say that, I'm like, who's neutral? But I was like, if there's somebody that you see at the supermarket all the time, like the same cashier rolling the shoulders, or like if you go for a walk right now and you see the same people, that's a neutral person. Or you can think about, like, I don't know. Yeah, it has to be somebody that doesn't really evoke good feelings or bad feelings, really. And then somebody that you can't stand, don't care for, or that kind of makes your heart race when you think about them. So those are the three people we're going to need today. Do little twists. As fast, as slow as you like. I was actually presented this morning with a really good example that I've been thinking about since I always do meditation, my own meditation, before I start this, and bringing the legs up. And I couldn't really focus because I was thinking about it. So it's interesting. I'll talk about the process of what the mind does. And we have to think about people we don't particularly care for. Okay. All right, so why are we talking about equanimity? If you just joined us and missed my definition, I was saying that the Cambridge meaning is a calm mental state, especially after a shock or disappointment in a difficult situation. And the Buddhist one, like, it breaks down the Sanskrit words, even though it's Tibetan, but okay. Same meaning. It means like to stand in the middle or to see with understanding. So people often think with this, it means like, say like a parent or a really close friend or somebody dies, so then therefore I have to be, neutral about it. And that's not what equanimity is. It's like all of these feelings are coming, but you're able to stay in those feelings with a sense of calmness, which is incredibly difficult to face. Incredibly difficult. So it's something that needs to be practiced quite a lot. But also, as I say in every session, that this is something that you need to do daily, that you may do this for years before you find a shift. I'm actually starting to find more of a shift after researching this and kind of offering these practices. So it does happen. But the shift I'm feeling this morning with my situation is a bit difficult. So really what you want to do is be able to stand in this calm. So I'll give you the example. I was an acquaintance that I've met in Antigua last year has asked if she can stay with me for a week. Now, it's not really ideal. My place is a 1-bedroom. I do these meditations. I do all these things. And I know her, and I'm not sure she'd be the easiest, most relaxed person to live with. But I was thinking, okay, coming to the exercise, if it was a friend, what would I say? Like, without fail, I'd say, yes, of course. I'd explain I do the meditations, and maybe I do a bit less or something. Like I'd go out of my way to help a friend, even the ones that, because it's only like 4 nights, 5 days. So, even as somebody that, you have those friends that if you live together, you probably won't be friends anymore, but I would do that for them anyway. So this process in my head is going through about immediately like why I don't want to have her stay. And it's, all to do with me, really. It's because I don't want to have someone that I don't know that well. As I said, she's an acquaintance, not a friend. A whole host, like it will really mess my schedule up. I won't be able to talk to my friends because you can hear, I can hear upstairs. So, obviously she can hear me wherever I am in the flat, and it would just like mess my whole routine up that I've gotten. But if it was a friend, I'd be okay with that, so it's that kind of process that you have to think about. And then what the mind does, so to make myself, because I thought, of course, so what would a Buddhist do? What would blah, blah, blah. And quite a few things is a calm state of mind within a storm. If I'm going to create a storm by allowing this person to stay and not stand, equanimous, I don't know how to say that word, but I know how to spell it. But if I'm not going to remain kind of calm within that state, then I'm going to be harming myself. I'm not going to be true to myself. I'm not going to be able to offer meditations in a certain way, all of these things. So, it's just an interesting process what the brain does about, well, actually she does have family, not here, but in other England that she could go to, and she's not going to be homeless, living on the street, blah, blah, blah. But these are all things for me to think about. So I guess, and what's the benefit of looking and exploring equanimity? Well, if we're able to realize that all beings are suffering in some way, and they call this samsara. So this, samsara is this world, and it's created with suffering, as we can see lots of different examples of its suffering. We're more likely to be compassionate towards other people. And it's not in every situation, and even, I know many people watching this aren't believers in Buddha, but even if you are a believer in Buddha, just because if I say no today, then I'm not going to be scorned by Buddha. He's just not like that, first of all, but it's not like that. It's about trying to be as compassionate as we can be when we're available. And if we're not available to be compassionate and we force ourselves to be, it's just not going to go well, and it's better to step back and not do something. Don't create harm, but you don't need to go out of your ways to be compassionate for it. Okay, so as I was saying, just with my example, if there's someone that you like and someone you don't like, who are you more likely to help in that situation? So if I had two people coming to me saying, look, I need a place to stay, obviously I would choose the person I like the most. Is that right or wrong? I don't know. But there's maybe, let's say, you're walking down the street and, an old lady that is really nasty to all the locals or something is struggling with her bags. Would you help her? Or would you be like, oh no, she deserves it because she's always nasty? That's quite a simple thing to do, but so I guess it's about looking at the motivation and also the situation, what you're doing. Okay, so I'm not actually going to talk a lot today. Oh, that was still 9 minutes of talking. But that just one more thing to help too with the equanimity thing is that in Buddhism, the Buddhist philosophy believes in previous lifetimes. So they say, even when I was in the monastery, they would say, that ant that's crawling around, or was it ants? There was something else that was always crawling around. People didn't really like. Cockroaches, I guess. But yeah, if that cockroach used to be your mother, would you stamp on it? Or if the cockroach was your mother. But if you knew that, and of course you have to like your mother. So a mother figure that, the typical loving, caring, kind mother figure. If that cockroach at some point was or was going to be your mother, would you still kill it and be cruel to it? So that's those kind of things, just little snippets to help you bring compassion into daily life, I guess, is what the whole point of my meditations are. Okay, so let's get into our open space. So somewhere maybe up high or where there's a lot of spaciousness. Mountains, hills, rooftops, seas, deserts. And either choosing to close the eyes or having a soft gaze. And I'll start with the 4 immeasurables to generate compassion for all beings. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free of suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never be dissociated from the supreme happiness, which is without suffering. May they remain in boundless equanimity, there's that word, free from attachment to close ones and rejection of others. So let's generate this equanimous, I don't know how to say it, quite amusing to attempt to say it, state of mind. I mean, how great would that feel if, wherever we are now in our open space, our happy space, if we felt like that all of the time. Because, there's a situation, an angering situation, we felt the anger and it just came and it went. A calm state of mind. Think of how we could deal with situations in such a way that we feel proud and good about ourselves. And oh God, I wish I hadn't have said that. I mean, the amount of times I say that daily is quite unbelievable. So, having this kind of practice to try and get that. So we have the calm state. It's almost like you can react in a compassionate, positive, rational manner without having to think about it. So really generating the sense of calm and peaceness in the open space. And I'll just be quiet for a couple moments as you vision the space and the smell and the sounds of nature. Remembering there's nobody here to distract you. There's nothing else you have to do but be in the space. If the mind wanders, bring it back to the open space, finding calmness, finding grounding. Start to visualize these three people. So they're images. They're not the actual people, they're images of the people. So on the left side is a good friend, someone you love. In the middle is this neutral person you don't have good feelings or bad feelings about, or very slight good or bad feelings about, preferably good. And to the right of you is the image of somebody that you can't stand. That makes your heart race. Remembering that in this open space where we are in our safe place, that it's okay to let our feelings go, to explore maybe some other ways of thinking, other ways of feeling. And now bring this friend to the front of you and examine your feelings towards him or her. How do they make you feel? Now bring the stranger to the front of you, placing your friend back to the left. And explore your feelings about him or her. How does that person make you feel? Now placing that person to the side. Concentrating on the person you can't stand. How do you feel about that person? Returning to the stranger, placing them in front of you, and realize that this person could easily become a friend or an enemy, for lack of a better word, in the future. So they may do something one day to irritate you, like if it's somebody that you see walking, maybe one day they, I don't know, spit on the street and hit someone, or, are mean to a dog or something like that. And all of a sudden it would evoke bad feelings. Or maybe you're having a sad day and they notice and they say, "How are you? Would you like to talk?" And now look at the friend and realize this person could also become someone, an enemy or someone you can't stand, in the future when they cheat or hurt you in some way. And maybe you even have an example of that, especially depending on your age. The older you get, the more you tend to see friends change or do things that are quite hurtful for whatever reason. That's their reason. We don't need to worry about it. When I was in the monastery and we did a similar exercise, they actually said you had to really evoke these feelings of great, good feelings for this person. And I chose my aunt. And then all of a sudden he turned around and said, "Now imagine they stab you in the back," literally. I was like, "Oh my God, that's awful." So don't do that. But, just imagine maybe some action that they do, some way they hurt you. And now look at the enemy and realize that this person could become your friend in the future if they help you. So for my example, that I was saying about if I say no to her or this person that I'm talking about, and she, hates me for this and thinks I'm her enemy because she has to go back to her parents' house where she doesn't want to go. Well, maybe 6 months down the line, something happens that I am able to help her with. And then all of a sudden, I no longer become an enemy. So now we've realized that a stranger could become a friend or an enemy. We've realized that a friend could become an enemy or someone we can't stand. And we realize that someone we can't stand could become a friend. So coming back to the friend when there's still a friend, generate strong feelings of love and appreciation for this person. So think about all the kind things they've done. Think about the personality traits that you really enjoy and appreciate about them. And almost as if you're having a soft smile on your face, just unconsciously, this smile appears because you feel so good by this person. Feeling warm, feeling happy. And now bring this stranger, or neutral person, to the front of your mind and have the same feelings towards them. So generate these feelings like, wow, I bet they're a really nice person as my friend is, because we all of us, even bullies, even murderers, psychopaths, all of us have the potential to hold these qualities. Whether it ever comes out is one thing, but we all have the potential. Evoking these strong feelings of love and appreciation that this stranger is on this earth. And the challenge for this Saturday morning is to keep those feelings. Imagine as if they're a bubble. So it's a bubble of feelings, and it's this happy bubble space. And now transfer the person you cannot stand into this bubble, so that feelings of love and appreciation. And I used to do this meditation daily for months, and with somebody that was really horrible to me. And I think probably a couple years later, it hasn't been that long, a year and a half later, I finally got over it. So it's challenging. Be real, be kind to yourself, but even for a glimpse, if we can find one thing that this person does. Generating feelings of kindness, of joy, of love, of appreciation this person is on this world. They say our enemies perhaps teach us the most out of anybody in life, so we need to appreciate that we're here. And ask yourself, is it really impossible to feel some love and compassion for this person, for the enemy? Is it impossible? Or is there one little thing that you can find that you could be compassionate about? Maybe they're horrible because they had a terrible upbringing. Find compassion in that. And as we start to bring the practice to an end, trying to realize that all three of these people, the friend, the neutral, and the not-so-friend person, are completely equal in trying to become happy and trying to avoid suffering. There was a beautiful quote that Ken MacLeod said, if I can find it quickly, that kind of reiterates that point. It's not, I can't find it off the top of my notes, but it's along the lines of everything does is at that moment they're trying to make their world better. So people are horrible because they're suffering so much. That's what they need to do to make their world better at that moment. And if we look at it like that, I think we can generate compassion. As all of us have done or said something mean we wish we wouldn't have had, because we just felt so awful we wanted to feel better. Opening up the rucksack, putting this exercise in our bags for perhaps when we want to seek revenge on somebody who's harmed us, or even if a friend does something we don't understand and harms us. Remembering this exercise, remembering that we're all suffering, remembering that we're all trying to get by in this world, so we can do our part to be compassionate and to wish happiness on others. Putting the rucksack on the back, coming back into reality. Hopefully with some feelings of compassion and love, but maybe not, and that's okay too. It's a practice. Practice doesn't necessarily make perfect, but can have a little shift sometimes. When you're ready, slowly opening the eyes, becoming aware of the space that we're in. And getting ready for the day, for the rest of your day, whatever time you're watching this at. And maybe for today's challenge, you can, somebody that you generally don't care for, don't like, maybe smiling at them, or some small challenge of how you can be nice to them. Might be something to think about today as we carry on the day. So as always, I thank you very much.